Okay.
Hey, that was interesting.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning back into the podcast. But those who trust,
in.
we are on.
Do you know why people say tuning in?
Why?
Well, because you used to have to tune TV sets to the right channel.
Old school.
So people are literally not tuning in; they're simply clicking a link.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I'm really learning a lot today, actually.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what
sorry,
episode. What episode do you think we're on? This is number what? What
I
want to
say episode 10.
Wow.
Yep.
Loving it. All right, today this is actually going to be a part 1, part 2 kind of little mini series we got going on.
Hope you guys are excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. So our episode today is called Dating with Divine Intent. So we're doing a little mini series on godly relationships. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm ready to dig in.
Yeah, very much so. I know we're not professional or anything. I never know what to do with my hands. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Do I sit? Do I look cool?
No, you don't.
Do I suck in the gut? Do I sit here? Because I'm serious. If I sit, I'm just going to end up twiddling my thumbs. That's going to be distracting for people watching
That's
online.
funny that you do that, because people, when you used to give announcements at the front on TV, not the TV, but the screens, remember when we used to do record announcements?
We used to do video announcements.
For church,
yes.
your hands were always like the this thing.
Yes.
And you always went like that. And I feel like people just knew you for that. I feel like people
they knew me for that?
I could have swore someone made a comment to me like that. This is how.
Sometimes I fidget. Sometimes.
And I feel like I used to stand like this.
Yeah. Shout out. I don't know if they listen, but shout out to the OG creative team crew. We love you guys. We used to spend, what was it, babe? Every couple of weeks, we'd do a Thursday night creative team meeting in my office to record the video announcements for church. We did that for 3 or 4 years maybe? Yeah. We did it for a while. And man, some of those meetings would get so frustrating just because we would have to do so many takes, or we were trying to come up with more creative ideas to announce something, and it just got to be mundane a little bit. It was fun though when you
threw in funny videos.
Oh yeah, no, we used to throw in some funny videos.
Those were really fun.
Yeah, those are always cool, especially the VBS ones we did when you guys were little.
Oh my gosh,
those were a blast.
Those were really fun.
Those are so much fun to work.
It's always awkward. It's fun making them, but then watching yourself up on the screen the whole church, I don't like that.
Like now? Do you watch yourself on this show?
No, I don't.
No,
because
you don't
of that,
watch yourself?
because it's so awkward. If I do listen to an episode because I want to because sometimes when you're recording or talking to people, I feel like you don't, I obviously get a lot, but I don't get as much because I'm focused on I don't know, maybe leading or guiding the conversation.
Oh, gotcha.
So sometimes I'll go back to listen to hear actually what our guest had to say and how the conversation went. But I usually don't watch it. I just listen.
Watch it?
No.
Did you just admit that you don't pay attention to the guests very much? You
no,
have to
that's
go back
not what
and
I'm
re-listen
saying.
to the episode?
I literally knew as that was coming out of my mouth, you were going to take
phone?
that wrong way.
Sorry, that was my phone.
I love how you asked Mom to turn off
her
watch and your phone.
I did, and my phone's on.
We need to get into our icebreaker questions.
Oh, yeah. Hey, people are probably just enjoying us.
We're in a goofy mood tonight. It's kind of late, and we're just
Yeah, it's a random night. We don't normally record on a Thursday night, so.
But
anyway, all right. What are icebreaker questions?
Our questions are good today.
Very good.
It goes from silly to definitely very deep and serious. So, our fun question is: if your personality were a flavor of ice cream, what would it be, and what toppings would represent your quirks? I can't say that word. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, quirks. Yep. Yeah, like your little mannerisms or quirkiness.
Do you have yours?
I've got 2 answers to that question.
Oh, okay.
One answer that actually matches the question. My personality is fun and bubbly, so it'd be something probably bubbly is not a right word to say for a man. I'm sorry. Fun bubbly. And boisterous and just I like laughing. I like talking to people.
I can see you as the Superman ice cream.
Outgoing Superman ice cream would be good, or something, just some other kind of fun ice cream. I think would be best to match my personality, something outgoing. However, that is not something I would normally go in and pick.
Well, obviously not.
Obviously not. I have a sweet tooth, so I love any kind of ice cream flavor that's just loaded with brownie bites or chocolate or peanut butter, stuff like that. That is definitely my go-to.
Okay, so I like that. So the Superman would characterize you, but this would be your ice cream. Does that make sense?
Right.
Your good go-to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I like that. We'll answer both of those.
Okay.
Kind of.
So you have an answer for both of those?
Yeah.
Because what was that, babe?
I'll
what
say
was that
my
kind that I got
signature
when we would
kind
go
of
to
ice cream.
When we would go to Cold Stone Creamery, what was that? I feel like I'm talking off camera to a producer or something. What was that? Peanut butter.
Isn't that cold fudge or something?
No.
I could have swore they had a peanut butter fudge one.
It was, but it was like peanut butter perfection. And it had like peanut butter cup, hot fudge.
That sounds really good.
A couple of other, like, I would always get a brownie add-in. Oh my gosh, we haven't been to Cold Stone in a long time. I love Cold Stone.
I didn't just like judge you,
They're not a sponsor
obviously.
of the show, by the way. But if they want to be, reach out.
But I always thought like all your like sweet choices were always way too rich.
Oh,
but like now I'm like totally like towards you. Like I've gone towards the peanut butter kick, like
that's
you know
true.
what I'm
do
saying?
Like peanut butter. Yeah, but you don't eat sweets much.
No, I don't. But like when I do, like I feel like I have the same taste now as you, sweet wise. Like I'd rather it be like super rich than super like sweet. Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Rich
like
is sweet.
No, but like rich, chocolate rich is different than like a sugar cookie icing sweet. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like that's kind of where my brain's going right now. Okay, so
what's your ice cream flavors?
My ice cream, I would say the one that describes my personality would be like, I don't know, like a vanilla with M&Ms. Because like vanilla is super simple, super smooth, but also like really, vanilla. I don't know why I describe smooth. I don't think that like goes with my, I don't know. That was a weird description to add on there, but like simple, but like honestly really good. Like you can never go wrong with like a nice cup of vanilla ice cream.
So like a high quality.
Yeah.
Vanilla ice cream.
Like vanilla ice cream is good.
Because you might be a little bit plain and simple, but like you're a high quality young lady. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Sprinkles? Anything else? Are we adding anything at all?
I said M&Ms. Oh, M&Ms. It adds that little chocolate taste.
Okay, I get it.
This is hard.
So you can be plain most of the time, but every so often you catch an M&M and you're just like, hey, let's go have fun. Let's have a party.
Sure.
Let's have a girls' night. Like, I don't know. What does that even mean?
No, the M&Ms are like the sprinkle of like fun.
Okay, I get it. I love it.
I feel like I'm thinking of the ice cream part too much and not the character part.
Fair point. So what's your go-to though?
Go-to
like what would be your go-to ice cream? Like that you like flavor-wise?
Cookie dough and peanut butter.
Oh.
Maybe not like always together.
Well,
but honestly,
what
I
flavor
wouldn't
of
even
ice cream?
care. Chocolate.
Okay, so chocolate with cookie dough.
Sometimes when I'm in the mood for vanilla, like DQ vanilla is like the best vanilla ever. But I'm never really in the mood for vanilla. I like a
rarely in the mood for vanilla
thing.
The only time I'm in the mood for vanilla is when it's the only flavor we have, and I usually like douse it with chocolate anyway.
Well, then it's not
or
vanilla
hot fudge. No, you're right. You're right. It's not vanilla after that point because I'll mix it in real good. I always like taking, like if we have hard ice cream from the freezer that's like, it's not soft. I'll get it soft, and then I will pour in my chocolate, and I will stir and mix that around until it's basically soft serve ice cream, and then I'll eat it. It's amazing. Or
time for you.
Little bit of a behind the scenes thing. If you ever get, I'm going to get really detailed here. If you ever get a big thing of like Prairie Farms ice cream, when I get out of the freezer, I let it sit for a minute and then the edges around the tub start to get soft. I will take my spoon. You guys don't know this because I stay up. This is what happens when I get ice cream out, like after everybody's in bed. And I'll scrape that spoon off and just eat that soft ice cream and just keep scraping. I won't even fill a bowl. I'll just do that a number of times until I've literally carved off the side of the ice cream that's gotten soft. And then I'll put it back in the freezer.
The best like carton ice cream is that one from IGA, the peanut butter stars one or whatever.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. You realize we've gone 9 minutes just talking about ice cream?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, post in chat. All of our thousands of watchers and listeners, post in chat. Let us know what your favorite ice cream is. And okay, now what's our deep question?
This could get like right as I say it, it's just gonna like.
I hope we get to our topic. I hope we get to our topic because this is a deep question. This is a pretty good one.
It is.
All right,
it's definitely gonna change the mood. I may not want to answer,
but go ahead.
Okay, if Jesus sat across from you right now and asked, "What are you holding on to that I never asked you to carry?" What would you say?
That's deep.
It is.
What are you holding on to that I never asked you to carry? Wow. Okay. What is it? I'm going to have you go first on this one.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. I feel like you might have an idea.
Yeah, it took me a minute to kind of think of it, but I think if I think of the main thing that's like weighing me down or weighing my mind down a lot that like I don't need to worry about, I don't need to carry is probably worries about like the future or maybe what I'm doing right now that will affect or prepare me for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally.
Like I feel like I'm always so focused on like the future and what I can do now and what I'm doing now that I kind of lose sight of like where I'm at right now. And I don't need to carry on that because God already has a plan.
Yeah.
And he will always provide. I don't need to hyper plan the next week because I know that he'll provide everything I need for that week and things like that. So
don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow worries about itself.
There you go.
That's good. Hey, that's a good one. All right. So I'm going to read the question to myself again. So if Jesus was sitting across from me, what would he, and he asked me, what are you holding on to that I never asked you to carry? That was a hard one. That took me a minute too. The first thing I could think of, or one of the few things I could think of, because I'm sure there's some stresses and things that I carry that very much like you do, carry that I don't need to. But one of the things that popped in my head, sorry to bring all things back to student ministry all the time, but that's literally been over half my life. So yeah. But sometimes, and I feel, okay, let me back up. I feel like I really want students to have a love of Jesus that I have, or have a love of Jesus that I know they should have. And when I don't see that happening, I feel like, I need to keep asking them to come to church, or checking in on them, or making sure they're coming to church, or whatever. And I feel like I put that on my shoulders when that's not meant to be on my shoulders.
That's really good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else. But like, my responsibility as a believer, not just as a youth pastor, but just as a believer, is to walk my faith out, like we say at church, live the gospel, preach the gospel. I'm to live out my faith. I am to be vocal and bold about my faith. And as a student pastor, I am to share that faith with my students in a way that they can grasp it and understand it. We do that on Wednesday nights at church, and I do that whenever I see students when I'm going to do an FCA huddle. I just started, I don't know if it'll go anywhere, we'll see what happens with it, but I just started on Fridays during lunch. I'll sit out at Subway, and any students that want to come and have questions, they want to come and ask questions, I'm here for it. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about faith. Let's talk about the Bible. Let's talk about our relationship with Jesus Christ. That's my responsibility.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, once you share, because the Bible says faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. How are they going to hear if somebody doesn't share? And who's going to share it? You need to share it, right? Yeah. So that's my responsibility. My responsibility ends there with sharing, and I'm an open book. People can come and ask me questions. I will approach students and talk to them and say, hey, we missed you at church, and do that. But man, I got to stop putting that on my shoulders. You know what I mean? That's on them. God's working in their hearts to either, hey, come to church, be part of a church family, be a part of brothers and sisters, a family of believers that love you and that want to support you and encourage you and raise you up in your faith and help you build up in your faith. But unfortunately, I can't make that a priority for them. So that's sometimes something I put on my shoulders, and Jesus is like, I didn't ask you to carry that.
That's really good.
So that was the only thing that popped in my head. I don't know if that
that's really good.
I
totally can understand where you're coming from with that. From what I've seen with you. Well, you do a great job of obeying and actually sharing the word.
I don't know about that.
I know it's hard when sometimes people might not respond.
Well,
you want to, or not stay consistent enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
that can be hard.
Yeah,
to watch.
That's literally, and that's not just student ministry. That's just church. I mean, sometimes people, unfortunately, put other things ahead and prioritize other things, and I just really, I want them to prioritize their relationship with Jesus Christ. And I'm not perfect in that either, to be quite honest with you, but that's on me. That is on my shoulders, right? That is something that I need to carry as my walk with Christ. But anyway, so those are good questions. Those are
really good. I liked those sets of icebreakers today. So as we jump into the episode, or kind of before we fully dive in, we're going to kind of define exactly what a godly relationship is.
Ooh, this is going to step on some toes.
It might.
But it's hopefully also going to open some eyes. So
no, it will, especially if you're
sore toes and open eyes. I think will be So it'll be good. Like, it's good things to talk about.
People my age, and even if dating or not, like it's still good to know like what kind of person you want to be in a relationship with and eventually marry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just setting some good foundations or good knowledge. That's kind of what we're doing today. So we're going to be kind of in Ephesians a lot. So if you're kind of sitting down and you want to open your Bibles with us and actually dig into the Word with us.
Not while you're driving, please.
That's kind of where we'll be today.
Hey, babe, will you hand me my Bible? Sorry. Just your hand will be on camera. No, we don't have to cut it out. People love to see my gorgeous wife here.
No, I didn't say cut out. I said, do you want to?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just want to flip to one of them. I just like having my...
Yeah. Okay, we're going to start in Ephesians 5:1. So, are you good if I go ahead and read it?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. It says, follow God's example, therefore, as dearly loved children, and walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God.
It's good. It's very good.
So that's kind of where I wanted to begin. And then
so how does that, in our jump off on relationships and godly relationships, how does that fit in?
Honestly, sometimes it just put it in simple terms, love like Jesus loves.
Oh, that's very good.
Love as Christ loves the church. I'm like always mispronouncing words wrong. But no, he gave his life up for us as believers. So I think that's definitely something to model, like love and relationships is about sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely something we see throughout the Bible and through God dying on the cross and just in this verse. So I think that's definitely
absolutely.
a key point.
Absolutely. I think a godly relationship obviously revolves around serving Christ, right? And doing God's will. That's going to be a godly relationship, whether that's a friendship or whether that's in your family or whether that's a romantic relationship. You know what I mean? I think serving God, putting God at the center of that is paramount. That's the key. So we need to love sacrificially just like Jesus did. But we also need to serve sacrificially as well. So that's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
And there's one more verse kind of as we jump in. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. This is definitely very popular when it comes to talking about like marriage and relationships and things like that. But I do love it, and I think it is very important.
This is often referred to as the love chapter.
Yes.
In fact, I think part of this verse was in our was part of our wedding stuff, wasn't it, babe? Yeah. All right. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, it does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Now, that is an amazing picture of love right there. Mm-hmm. That is not something we can do in and of ourselves. No. That is not something that we cannot fulfill that verse. We cannot fulfill that expectation of walking in love without the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
We cannot do that without God 100%. I mean, my goodness, our natural inclination is to keep track of wrongs, right?
Yeah. I was just thinking that when you heard that. I know I've talked to my friends before about their relationships and how they're like, I feel like we can kind of talk about like doing that in our own relationships. Oh, well, he did this or she did that. Or like to just like anytime you're in an argument or something, you're always bringing up each other's wrongs and just, so that's funny that you mentioned that because right as that said, keep no records of wrongs. I'm like, wow.
Yep.
Like as
because
humans, we don't do a lot of these things.
Right. And I feel like there are people out there that will hold on to things for years. And sometimes we just got to let it go or it will eat you alive. Yeah. Right.
For sure.
And here's the other thing though. And let me caveat this. I probably should have opened up with this. We are in no way relationship experts by any stretch of the imagination. We're just having a conversation here.
Any topic we talk on, we're not experts on.
Yeah, in fact, I'm not even sure why you're listening right now.
Okay.
But I'm just joking. We're just talking. We're having a conversation. We're talking about lived experience. We're talking about the Word of God. We're talking about, expectations that frankly, we need to put on ourselves as believers, but also being very frank and honest about expectations we can never live up to without God working in our lives and through us. So I just wanted to put that out there. And, for anybody that's watching and listening, taking notes on, oh my gosh, how are they going to tell me how to do relationships? Well, that's not what this is about. This is about having conversations. And it's about, in all honesty, also kind of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-reflective, kind of reflecting on how we live our lives and how we conduct ourselves and kind of in those relationships as well. So this is just about looking inward as well. So
for sure.
Anyway.
Well, I think as we kind of looked at these verses, as we kind of already touched on, the world and our just human relationships, they're like messed up. And that started with Adam and Eve from the beginning. Yep. Same as sin entered the world. It destroyed many things, and relationships is one of them. As we see from the beginning, Adam and Eve blamed each other for their choices and their sin, and everything kind of went downhill from there. So that's, broken relationships, it's kind of just a part of this world, a part of this sinful world. But,
broken and fallen. That's exactly what it is. So, And that's what, and if we go into it understanding that, hey, our relationship is with, I'm a broken person getting into a relationship with another broken person. We need to understand that, right?
Yeah.
We need to understand that nobody is perfect, least of all ourselves. And so if we can go in understanding that and knowing that, it's like, hey, I'm not going into this to fix somebody. I'm going into this to serve God alongside somebody, right? Again, really whether that's a friendship or a romantic relationship or anything, this is we've got to be about that. So. And
I like the point that you made earlier about how like we can't do any of these things that we talked about in First Corinthians without God. And I think that also kind of plays into the part where like unless we have a strong rooted relationship in God, we cannot have a good, strong, healthy relationship with anyone else.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense. So I think, and we can even kind of jump to this point now, which I always love this point that I've heard, but it's like, it's kind of this picture in my mind. It's like right now I may be single, but I know God has someone out there for me. And I can just like, it's like God places this picture in my mind of like that man, like following him, running after him, doing like all that God called him to do. And then one day our paths like cross. Does that make sense?
Like a Hallmark special?
Okay, stop. I don't mean a cheesy way, but that's like something like when you're following God 100%. And running towards God.
Yes.
I've always just loved that like analogy or that image of like that person that God has for you will come alongside you and run towards God with you as like a partnership. So I love that the main goal is like a partnership to follow God more and spread his word. It's like you're still on that same mission that God called you to do. You just have that person with you, if that makes sense. So
absolutely.
I don't know. I've just always loved that point or that analogy. I think you said Pastor Scott made it once or something like that.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I was just getting ready to look up. Give me 2 seconds.
No, you're fine.
I'm going to look that verse up real quick. I was trying to find it in my concordance, but give me 2 seconds here.
I just feel like it's always encouraging for, I don't know, whatever stage of life you're in, single or whatever. So.
Okay, I knew it. Proverbs 18:22. I'm going to turn there real quick.
Okay.
Proverbs 18:22. And I can just say it, but I want to read it. I want to find it.
No, I agree.
What did I just say? Proverbs 18:22?
Yeah.
All right, Proverbs 18:22. The man who finds a wife finds a treasure, and he receives favor from the Lord. Other translations say, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And I love when Pastor Scott says, he'll point to Beth, his lovely wife, and he'll be like, hey, Beth, you're my good thing. And I love it when he says it. But he's also gone on to expound, and maybe he didn't come up with this either. He might have gotten this from somewhere. But Pastor Scott's the one who I've heard it from. And he would say in that verse, when you break it down, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. It's not like you're not looking for a wife, right? You're not looking for a relationship. You are serving God, and as you go, you'll find somebody that's serving God as well, right? Or somebody that's on that same path of life or serving God in the same way or in the same area, and you guys will find that, hey, we're in this together, and all of a sudden, there's that connection. And I've always loved that because that makes total sense, because I feel like sometimes well, we'll get into the cultural stuff maybe later, but sometimes people can get caught up like, I really want a husband or a wife. I really want a family. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful to desire those things. That's a godly desire. But if we're not careful, we can get so caught up in looking for those things that we almost put that on a pedestal or idolize that a little bit in our lives. And that's not healthy either, right?
I totally agree.
So, sometimes we just have to not sometimes, all the time, we got to do things in God's timing and allow him to work those things through in our lives. So
speak on that from like a little like teenage girl perspective. I feel like
you want me to give the teenage girl perspective? No, I'm saying like
I'm about to.
Okay, all right.
But like I feel like I'm not just saying, I can just see this in teenage girls, my friends, sometimes even me, it's just like you see everyone else with that relationship with that guy or whatever, and you're like, oh, I want that. Or like if one of my friends or something, they just had a breakup or something, but then they're searching for the next person. Yeah. And it's just like that analogy and what we were just talking about, that verse.
Yes.
It's kept my eyes like focused on God and not like, okay, that's not your job or your purpose to look for someone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The desire in and of itself is not a bad thing.
No, it's not at all.
We're wired that way, right? Yeah. We are wired for relationship.
And God knows the desires of your hearts.
Exactly.
And that's also what keeps me from worrying one day about having a family or having God knows my desire. He knows my wants. He has a plan.
Yes.
And just staying focused on him, especially in this season of life when, high school relationships, like you and mom are like, the exception. I feel like, you know what
I'd
I
like
mean?
to think so.
There
were a couple of.
I'm not saying that if you're dating in high school right now, you're not going to like get married.
That were together when we were together in high school that are still together.
That's
just
true.
A couple, but
I'm not saying that like that's unheard of or anything. But I'm just saying like when you in this stage of life, I'm trying my hardest to focus on God and not searching
100%.
For a guy or anything like that. And I think that's very important.
Yes, and I absolutely love that. Now, I will say, and whenever we talk about relationships in youth group, I always give this caveat, because I will still not disregard, but still downplay high school relationships, because there's a maturity factor there. There's a worldliness there, just like you said. Like I just want to be with somebody. Like I just want to have. And sometimes when you're in high school, there's a status factor to it too, right? It's like, oh, so and so are together. Like, oh my gosh, that kind of thing.
No,
there's just this
it
whole
can
thing.
get really hard, yeah.
So I always downplay that, not downplay it, but just caution students. It's like, hey, focus on the priorities first. You know what I'm saying? Like, just who cares about having a boyfriend or girlfriend right now? It's just not that big of a deal. The odds of you guys staying together and getting married are slim, right?
Yeah.
And plus, there's a whole lot of baggage that comes with relationship after relationship after relationship and boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend. There's baggage that goes along with that. There's temptations and cultural garbage and rot that goes along with all of that. It's just opening yourself up to slipping up that things that you don't need in your life. But when I tell my students that, I always caveat. Now, my wife and I started dating in high school. She was a freshman, I was a sophomore, a long time ago, right, babe? She's giving me the head nod. When we met in high school, we met in Spanish class. I'm not going to give you our whole high school story, but we met in Spanish class. She thought I was super funny, super handsome. She just couldn't take her eyes off me, literally, because she sat behind me in Spanish class. So she stared at my fat head the whole time. So, but we started to kind of, we started to talk and flirt a little bit, but I was not a believer. She was. Her and her family went to church. She was a believer. I was not a believer. She had no business getting into a relationship with me, because the potential for me to drag her down and drag her away from God was huge, right? Now, thankfully, and by God's grace, it went the other way. She actually brought me to church and into a relationship with Jesus Christ. If it wasn't, if it wasn't for my beautiful, amazing wife, I would not be sitting here today, right? Who knows where I'd be at in life? I have no idea. I wasn't a bad person, but I wouldn't have. I really doubt I'd be serving God.
Yeah.
Or if somehow He got a hold of me, who knows what would have? I really don't know. And so I don't like the idea or condone the idea of missionary dating. Hey, I'm going to date this person and invite them to church to get to come to church. That's the wrong way to go about it. So by God's grace, my wife and I grew together, because she wasn't super, and Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, but she wasn't super serious about her faith at the time. She went to church. Her family went to church. And I, because of my personality, my type A personality, when I finally did relent, and it was like 2 years, when I finally said, okay, fine, I'll go to church. I don't care about it. I don't, whatever. If it'll make you happy, I'll go. I'll give it a shot. And absolutely fell in love with it. Fell in love with church, fell in love with the people, fell in love with my youth pastor. Shout out to Pastor Scott, who's my youth pastor. I mean, he made a huge impact in my life. The youth leaders at the time made a huge impact. I was only in youth group for like a year, but that was one of the most formative years of my life, because that's when I developed my relationship with God. And that was because my wife kept asking me, hey, really need to come to church. I really want you to come to church. Please come to church. Come to church. Come to church. And finally just started going, right? So let that be a lesson to you. You can't nag your friends to church. You can't just keep inviting. Don't give up. Just ask them and invite them. And so because of that, I started coming to church, and it took a little bit of time. I was kind of stubborn, but my eyes were open to the love of Christ and to the gospel, and I gave my heart to Jesus. It took some time, but it happened. But that's not a common reality, right?
Yeah.
That is sometimes that's kind of a diamond in the rough, as it were. I'm not saying it never happens. It happened with us, and I'm sure it's happened with others as well. But that is that is the what's the phrase I'm looking for? That's the exception, not the rule, right? So more often than not, you get into relationships in high school, and because of maturity and because of some other things and because of some social pressures, you end up getting yourself into more baggage and hurt than anything else, right? And so this is why when we talk about relationships and we're like, the main thing is serving God. If you are about the business of serving God, if you're about the work of the kingdom, when you do find a relationship, even if it is in high school, hopefully that person is serving right alongside you, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully you are not unequally yoked with somebody who couldn't care less about God, and you're. If you get into a relationship or with somebody who's got those same goals, hey, we're serving God together. Yeah. Right? In a godly relationship, we just happen to be in high school, right? Yeah. So, anyway, sorry, I kind of rambled on about that a little bit.
No, that was good. I was hoping we'd go a little bit into you and Mom's story a little bit, so that was good. But I do kind of want to talk a little bit about how, like, the world can view relationships a little bit. I think the main thing that comes to mind is like a game or momentary fun. Yep. But as Christians, we need to view it as like preparation and as a potential start to a long-lasting Christ-centered relationship. Like, you're not just dating just to have someone and have some fun. Right. Like, you're dating with a purpose, with an intention. Yep. I think so many people, especially like in high school, I feel like they start dating like whatever, and then they get bored and they get boring, and they're just like, oh, we broke up because I didn't like know where it was going. Right. Like, well, you're in high school. Where did you expect it to go? Like, did you expect to get married soon? Like, date with the intention, the purpose. Like, if you know you're not ready for marriage, then maybe you shouldn't be dating right now. Absolutely. Does that make sense? And that's also the point where, like, maybe high school isn't the best place for relationships because obviously you're not getting married in high school or right out of high school. So I just think finding that time, finding that person you actually want to be committed with is extremely important. Extremely important. And when you think about it, a lot of times, and this goes to maturity, and it goes to, there can be a lot of factors in this. And it could be maybe the relationships that have been modeled in your life have not been good, have not been solid relationships. A lot of kids come from broken homes. A lot of kids come from, messed up, the examples that they have seen, whether that's in their own home or whether that's in society or whatever, or with friends or whatever, is broken and not the best example of relationships, right? And so, but when you think about it, when you get into it as a young person, what's the purpose behind this relationship? Is it for me? Is it because I want to feel good? Is it because I want somebody to love me and dote on me and send me text messages, or I can talk to you, just whatever? Is this a selfish thing, or are you wanting to serve and pour your love out to somebody, right? That's really good. And so this is something that we need to ask ourselves, like, why am I desiring a relationship? Number one, is it for God's glory? Is it for a purpose? Is it what's the end goal, right? What's my goal here? Is my goal, hey, let's see if we're compatible. Because I want to get married and have a family someday, right? Mm-hmm. That's if you think about it, getting married, having a lot of kids, right? Raising those kids up in the fear and admonition of the Lord, serving God together as husband and wife and as a family, that's the goal, right? As far as believers go, as far as Christians. Now, if you're watching this or listening to this and you're not a believer, you're not a Christian, then ask yourself, what's my goal in a relationship, or do I want to get married? Like, these are some questions you're going to have to wrestle with. But as a believer, as a follower of Jesus, I have an amazing blueprint in here of what it means to have relationships. And I have an incredible example, even if there's not been, and I'm very thankful to have a good example in my mom and dad. But even if I'm raised in a home that I don't have a good example of a mom and dad or a loving husband and wife and how that works, I've been given examples in God's word. Amen, right? Yeah. And so as a believer, as a follower of Christ, I can dig into the word and I can see what is the proper role of a husband and a wife. How do they love each other? How do they take care of each other? What's the purpose behind marriage? And that is so key, because then that can give you your perspective. As you say, hey, I really feel like I'm ready to have a girlfriend or have a boyfriend. Then ask yourself, okay, if you're ready for that step, then are you ready for the next step? And how soon will you be ready for the next step on getting married? Guys, are you ready to have a job and provide for a family, right?
Now, granted, that may not be right off the bat. I understand you might take some time to build to that, but like ask yourself, hey, am I ready to provide for a wife and kids? Do I have job goals? Do I have a plan? You know what I mean? I mean, we have to, some of this stuff to think about.
It can be overwhelming, I feel like, for a lot of guys.
It can be overwhelming. That can be overwhelming. And as a young lady, wanting to be a wife, are you ready to support and love your husband, right? There's a lot. Yeah, that's heavy, which is why we've got to think about these things before we just jump into relationships. Because the last thing you want is when you do find that man or woman that God has for you, the last thing you want is 10 years of baggage because you've just jumped into every other relationship that came your way, right? Yeah. We don't want that, you know?
I think it's important to know it's like, obviously when you're talking, getting to know someone, it's important to not go straight into that, like, okay, what are your, like on the first day, asking all that.
Yeah, it's okay. That's why I go out in groups and hang out and get to know people.
Yes, but having that thought in the back of your mind that, like, you're dating, like, for a purpose, for a good intention, like, that's something to, like, always keep in mind.
Yes,
even if you don't talk about it right away or all those tiny details, but it's definitely something to keep in the center.
Yeah. What's the purpose behind it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I do want to talk about some practical ways that we can cultivate Christ-centered relationships.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah, it was. Did I mispronounce
No,
that?
practical. So say that again. Some practical ways you can what?
Cultivate Christ-centered relationships.
That's pretty good. Practical ways.
So I'm going to kind of just shoot some things out at you, and we can kind of expand on them. But obviously, we kind of already did this one. Dating with intention versus casual dating.
Right.
Casual dating is definitely seems like a very cultural buzz, kind of.
Yep. And selfish.
Yeah. Boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries
is a huge
very much.
One. Absolutely.
This might step on some people's toes, but I do think it's important, like, especially with good goals in mind, you must set boundaries. You must invite accountability and counsel into your relationship. That's really, really important.
Right.
This can kind of get sticky. I know some people are like, whoa, like that's, you don't even like hang out like alone with your girlfriend. Like stuff like that. It's just like, there can be an extreme and too much, but like what? Let's talk boundaries a little bit.
See, but it only seems extreme because of the society we're living in.
I agree.
I mean, if you want to get crazy, you could think back in the day, I mean, you literally couldn't even, you couldn't be alone with somebody of the opposite sex at all. Like it was very, very frowned upon. Like when you were courting or dating somebody and you wanted to go for a walk, your parents walked behind you, your family, you know what I'm saying? Like
I find that very like weird.
It seems weird because look how far we've strayed as a culture from boundaries and from the proper way to do things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying, hey, if you want to go on a walk, you got to get your family to follow behind you, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some of these things we're getting ready to talk about with boundaries only seems crazy because of how far we have slid as a culture and as a society. That's why it seems crazy.
No, that's a great point.
Man, if I think about it, I'm going to say it. There was a quote I saw the other day. Somebody said, and it was so stinking good. Oh, and I think it would apply here too. If I think about it, I'll mention it.
Okay.
But, so boundaries.
Boundaries are another important thing you talk about with your partner, with whoever you're dating at the time.
Right.
Whoever you're talking with. I think that's important that you guys are on the same page and you know what lines not to cross.
Right. And you know what? I don't want to, here's the other thing I want to say too.
I don't want to talk about strict, like this boundary rule, this boundary rule, this boundary rule. But I do want to.
And it's not about strict rules. It's not like you're going to have these, hey, the 10 boundaries that I have, although it's not a necessarily bad idea, but it's the heart behind it, right? Like, why do I have these boundaries? It's to protect me from being stupid, right? Because I was a teenager in high school, right? You know teenagers in high school. You're a teenager in high school. Hormones are nuts, okay? Hormones, I'm serious. Hormones would just... It's just, I'm not a biologist, don't get me started, but hormones will make you think, do, and say stupid things because your brain is developing, your body's developing, everything is just going, it's just a slurry on the inside, right? It's just kind of stuff is changing and crazy. The 4 years of high school, from freshman, when you're just a kid, right, to seniors, when you're not an adult, obviously, but you are close, like you are, that 4 years, there's huge changes that take place in that 4 years.
Yeah.
Maturity-wise, emotionally, biologically, like the whole 9 yards. Like when you look at people that are freshmen, I've seen it. I've watched it happen. I've watched students grow this way, right? I've seen students that are freshmen. They just seem like little kids. And by the time they graduate, I'm like, my goodness, this person's going off to college, starting a job. You know what I mean? Like some I've had students that shortly after high school, they get married. They like, hey, we're ready to get married and start a family. It's fantastic. Go for it. You know, as long as you're doing things the right way, that's great. And so, what in the world did I go off on that topic about? Sorry. What was I thinking? Oh, no. So it's the heart. Okay. So boundaries, it's the heart behind it. But here's what I'm going to say. Involve, if you have a good relationship with your parents, which I hope you do, involve them to talk these things out with your parents.
That's really
right?
Good.
This isn't, I mean, my goodness, if you're still living at home, still under their roof, involve them in it, talk to them about it. Say, hey, Mom, Dad, what was your experience with this? What are some of the potholes that you stepped in that I can avoid, right? And so this is, I mean, so don't keep your parents out of the loop on this kind of stuff. It's so important to have a close family dynamic when it comes to this. Like, I'd like to think that if you're dealing with some things, you'd come and talk to us about it, right? And you have. And so, and I love that. I absolutely love having that. You know, speaking from the side of a father, I love having that close relationship with our kids, that they can just feel open and free to come and talk to us about stuff, right?
And if you're a parent listening to this, I know from my side, like, when I do talk to them about this stuff, one of my favorite things that they say are like, do you want, like, my advice, or do you just want me to listen? Like, I cannot tell you how many times
I do say that because sometimes I'm quick to be like, here's what I would do, boom, boom, boom.
Say that. Yep. And I love how you, like, realize that, and I love when you say that. Most of the time I just keep talking, and then I'm, like, I've calmed down, and I'm ready for your advice. But, no, the point is that, like, you guys are just there, like, you're listening, and you're not constantly nagging or getting mad about, like, obviously, as kids, we make mistakes, and I feel like you guys realize that, and we talk it out, and as parents, I think it's important to listen and not be so fast to judge.
Yeah, and it's hard for me because I never made any mistakes growing up. So
these snarky comments, man. I'm going to start, like, tallying.
You're going to start tallying my snarky comments? No, I did learn that because I can tend to be very, very opinionated about stuff. Like, I have very strong opinions and thoughts about things, and so sometimes I can be like, whoa, wow, I think this, and this, and somebody who's telling, like, whether it's you or a student, being like, I don't care. I'm just trying to tell you what I'm, you know what I mean? Like, oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Tell me everything and then we'll talk about it. Okay.
No, I think that's good to, like, realize that and that you're just, like, there to listen. No, I love that.
See?
So it's very good.
I'm not old, but I'm older and I'm still having some self-realization moments. So, right?
And maybe if you can't really talk to your parents about stuff like that, or just, honestly, there's broken homes, broken relationships, and stuff like that. It's always good to have accountability or close friends or someone you can go to and talk to. It's not good to keep all these feelings and these questions all bottled up or things like that.
Right. So, okay. So if we're talking to somebody who does not have the best relationship with their parents, I hate it, but I know it happens. Here's what I would recommend if you are wanting to talk. Hey, I'm wanting to talk about someone's relationship with somebody. If you're at a church, talk to your youth pastor, a youth leader. Guys, talk to guys. Girls, talk to girls. Oh, okay. Yeah. That sounds silly. That's one of those boundaries. It's like, when you're talking, emotional stuff, it can be very easy to get emotional. And when you're talking to somebody of the opposite sex, those emotions can turn into temptations and other things. It sounds silly, but it's 100% true. When we just as a side note, one of the reasons I had experience with this when we, one of the things that we don't do in a youth group quite as much because we don't get students that pray for each other quite as much unless we're in our small groups, which are all guys and all girls anyway. But at church camp, when we'd go to church camp, one of the things that I learned over the years as a camp counselor at church camp is, they would tell us, hey, at the end of a service, when there's a big prayer line or when students come up to pray or whatever, sometimes, you can just be led by the Spirit to go pray for people, right? And so one of the things they would encourage us to do is like, hey, just keep an eye out as a leader, as an adult, just keep an eye out and make sure that guys are going to pray for their friends, their guys, and that girls are praying for girls, or girl leaders are praying for girls, guy leaders are praying for guys, just to keep everything on the up and up, right? Because we don't want to make any room for the enemy to open those doors of temptation at all, regardless of the setting. Mm-hmm. And so if you are seeking out, if you can't go to your mom and dad and talk to them, that's the ideal. But if you can't, then seek out a pastor, a youth leader, somebody that you can just talk this stuff over with, right? And also, I would encourage you to talk to somebody who's maybe been through some of this stuff, right? Talking to some of your bros at school isn't necessarily going to cut it, okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, just as a...
No, that's really good. A couple more we've got. praying for each other and serving together in church.
Oh, that's
I think
good.
It's important, obviously.
Wait, are we still talking about boundaries?
No.
What are we talking about?
That was the next bullet point of how to cultivate a Christ.
Oh, the relationship. So we're done talking about boundaries?
Did you have anything else to add?
I do have some. No, I'm sorry. No. Sorry. Real quick. So as far as boundaries, I know we said we don't really necessarily need a list of do's and don'ts, although that's not a bad thing. It's the heart behind it. But I know one of the things that Ash and I always did or tried to do was we would go out with groups of friends all the time. Excuse me. We would go out with groups of friends all the time because it's easier to be on the up and up when you're around a group of people,
sure.
right?
That's a good point.
And so no time alone by yourselves, like ever, because that's just inviting temptation in, right? And that sounds like, I mean, there's, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I've known students that talk about, oh yeah, so-and-so came over and he was in my room or she was in my room. And I'm like, by yourselves? Yeah, what's the big deal? Where are your parents? Oh, they're downstairs. What? Like, that's literally just leaving the welcome mat out for temptation and lust to just completely take over. Like, that's just not smart. That's not wisdom. And so, like, I know we said we weren't going to give a list of rules, but then as a boundary, that's got to be number one is we're just not alone together. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? So, sorry. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, next bullet point. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Next topic or next thing.
We said already kind of having accountability and inviting wise counsel into the relationship.
Yep.
Praying for each other and serving together at church.
That's good.
I think serving together is a really good.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of your eyes focused on God and not just yourself or one another or whatever. Yeah. So those are just some kind of ones that kind of popped up in my head. What are any ones you can think of?
No, I mean, I think that's good. If you're keeping your relationship with Christ at the center, that's going to guide a lot of that, right? And if the other person is keeping Christ Christ in the center of their lives personally, again, that's key. It's not just, hey, we're going to do a Bible study together. It's like, are you developing in your personal one-on-one relationship with Jesus Christ, regardless of this other person? Are you developing in your relationship? Because hopefully they're doing the same thing, and you're both growing in your relationship with Christ together, right?
Exactly.
Because you're not a union until you're married, okay? It's like you don't have to do Bible studies together all the time. You don't have to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So your one-on-one relationship with Christ is paramount. That's key, right? Because just because if you're in a dating relationship, I mean, doing a Bible study together, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, you need to make sure you're growing in your relationship with Christ as well. So.
For sure.
I mean, because that'll help in the other areas of where you guys are serving together and doing stuff.
So I think I do kind of want to, as we kind of wrap up, I do want to talk about some red flags and green flags we can kind of look for or be aware of as we're kind of looking for someone or praying for someone for the future or anything like that. And then I kind of want to end with, how do we know that we are ready for marriage?
Oh,
so man. I do want to say, I talked about this with some friends I was hanging out with not long ago. We were talking about like green flags, and like one of the biggest ones that I think I said was like a guy who like knows what he wants.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Who has an idea for the future, who knows what he wants, who will pursue you, you know what I mean? Just has a good, confident, Christ-centered view on things and view on the future. So
that's a good one. That's a good green flag. Yeah, that's good. A green flag, a guy who loves Jesus, is outspoken about their faith.
Guy or girl, yeah.
Guy or girl, right, sorry. Goes to church. Green flags, lots of green flags. Loves their parents, respects their parents, is obedient to their parents, right, and respecting and loving to their parents. I mean, just keep an eye on how do they treat other people? How does this guy or girl treat other people, you know? If you go out to eat, are they rude to the waiter or waitress?
That's always something everyone says.
Everybody says it because it's such a small thing. But if somebody that you think is below you and you treat that person awfully, that's total red flag, right? That is not like, how does this person just treat other people, right? The cashier at the, how are they friendly? Are they kind? Whatever, you know what I'm saying? And what was the other thing? It's like, I don't know if this necessarily fits in with the question or not, but I heard somebody say it and I thought it was pretty good. It's like, if you are to get married to this person and have kids, would you want kids that act like that person?
No, that's a great way to think of it. Or would you want that person even raising your kids?
Exactly. And if the answer to either one of those is I don't think so, whoop, back up. It's time to
a red flag.
It's time to snap the reins and say, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, that's just right. Because if there's red flags for simple stuff, that's not probably painting a good picture for a future, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. And maybe that person matures and they grow in their relationship with Christ and they grow and down the road, and then maybe that's something you revisit. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Do you believe in right person, wrong time?
Right person, wrong time? I think so.
I do too. I was just curious. I was random.
I say that not because because there's no formula to it, right? There's no formula to life or relationships. So there could very easily be the right person, because you could grow up with somebody.
Yeah.
And that person could be a total snot-nosed kid, brat, right?
Yeah.
But as they grow up, maybe their life experience, maybe things God works in their lives makes them a different person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They grow up, right? And then all of a sudden it's like that person's like, oh, you know, that type of thing. So anyway, that's good. Here's the other thing I don't believe in is love at first sight.
I thought that's what I was about to mention that too.
Yep.
Well, we don't really have time to get into all that. I could tell you were about to.
I was just looking at Ashley. No, and do you want me to tell you why, or do we want to just leave people wanting more for the next episode?
I think we should leave people wanting more.
All right, okay. At the beginning of the next episode, I will tell you why I do not believe in love at first sight, and I'm sure everybody's waiting on the edge of their seat. So, whose turn is it to close out in prayer?
It is mine.
It is your turn. All right. Hey, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. Close out in prayer.
Do you have anything else to say?
No. I was going to say thanks for joining us, but I want you to close out in prayer first.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Dear God, I thank you so much for this episode, and I just pray that hearts will be open to hearing from you, God. I know this episode may have maybe stepped on some people's toes, or maybe got people thinking, but God, I just pray that you will just draw closer to them. Just give them the wisdom and knowledge they need to navigate these relationships and to cultivate Christ-centered relationships. God, I just pray that you will help us to have the right mindset going into dating, and maybe if you're dating and you're preparing for marriage, God, whatever it is, I just pray that you will be in the center of each of our relationships, God. And it's in your mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. That was good. Thank you. And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.